Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Paddle Talk here on World Sand Drag News. It's episode 96 on our podcast here, and we've got a great show for you guys. Some results from racing we had this past weekend, a few upcoming events that are still yet to come. They're going to wrap up our 2026 season, and some breaking news on the sport of sand drag racing. Before we get into everything, let's hit up those sponsors to make everything happen here, starting out with Racing in the Dirt. Guys can check them out at racinginthedirt.com, where you're going to find Scott and Shayna Rogi's business with over 40 years of experience slinging dirt, slinging mud. They've got everything from components like knuckles, axles, wheels and tires, hub kits, chain drives, everything you need to make your build ready for the 2026 season, all the way up to complete and full chassis builds. Hit them up at racinginthedirt.com, or you can call them at area code 920-693-2000. That's racinginthedirt.com or area code 920-693-2000. John, take it away with another sponsor.
Hey, we'll go with Silverback Offroad Speedway, 7186 West Deer Road, Mears, Michigan, with all kinds of sand drag racing events, including mud drags and short course events, and all at one venue. It's really cool. So check them out at Silverback Offroad Speedway on Facebook or silverbackoffroadspeedway.com.
And located right next to the racetrack there is the Silver Lake Sand Dunes. If you want to go hit that up and you don't have one of these specialty sand vehicles, you go and check out Silverback Offroad Rentals. Located right outside the entrance of the dunes, they have premium ATVs, side-by-sides, and Jeeps that you can go and rent for a few hours to a full day excursion out of the Silver Lake Sand Dunes. Take your whole family out there. There's a little bit left in the season, I believe, before the dunes close. So hit them up this week before the dunes are closed for the season. That's silverbackoffroadrentals.com. You can also check out one of our coverage sponsors here, 3-1 Go Life, on YouTube. That's Doug Van Lett and the crew. They go out and they show trucking, work on their race cars, working on the trucks, promoting the sand drag lifestyle. They just started up a new podcast called The Dirt, so check them out on there. That's 3-1, that's O-N-E spelt out, Go Life on YouTube. And last, we're going to hit the ground running here with a little preview, but we're going to be promoting this upcoming event, Dome Valley Raceway, the East versus West National Challenge. It's coming up 2026, March 12th through the 15th. We're going to have everything
16th.
from 15th, I think. It's 15th. I told you wrong.
Change it on me again.
12th through the 15th, we're going to have everything from top alcohol dragsters, pro mods, top eliminator A-Fuel, down to kids. We've got everything for every type of vehicle, whether you've got a stock truck, a super fast side-by-side, an ATV, or a Jeep or buggy. Got classes for everybody, bracket racing, index, and heads up. It's going to be probably one of the largest sand drag races in recent history. Make sure you guys are putting this on your calendar, the East versus West National Challenge, DomeValleyRaceway.com. Check them out on Dome Valley Raceway on Facebook. Make your reservations now, because I know those spots are going to fill up, and we're really looking forward to a very successful event. More news to come on that as we get closer to those dates, so stay tuned to World Sand Drag News and Dome Valley Raceway for more updates. All right. That's going to pay the bills, and we're going to jump into those race recaps. So starting off, we had...
Well, before we get started, Caleb, do you think we could actually take a Silverback Offroad rental and take it to Silverback Offroad Speedway and race it?
That is a good question.
We're going to have to get Brody on here. Crew about that, yeah.
Yeah. We definitely need to talk. We should make that a class at a race out there. You have to rent
Off-road Speedway rental class, and we'll go out there and we'll just have a riot with them. We won't touch doors. That would be nothing.
No. But I mean, yeah. I think that'd be fun.
I like it.
May burn up a belt or two, but that's about it.
Yeah,
you know what? But they got all the stuff there. That's the cool thing about Silverback Offroad Rentals. They got all the parts and components there to service those machines already. So
maybe that'd be a new thing for them. Have some rentals at the track for some races when people travel out of town.
Yeah,
There
I
we
think
go.
we should do it. I think we should do it. I think that'd be fun for people coming in, spectating, and some racers that but they break some stuff, or like
How
John,
wild
like
would that be?
you want to get on an ATV, or Damien's like gonna hop in a rental Jeep, and because he broke something on the leftovers.
I mean,
I can see him
that
do
I
that.
did do that this past weekend, so that rental I got was pretty quick.
Oh, that was a nice rental. We'll talk a little bit more about that. First, we're gonna swing we'll swing West Coast, and we'll go towards the East Coast. So the Avenal Sand Drags Fall Frenzy was this past weekend, and it was an absolute blast. I will say that attendance was a little down, which I was a little disappointed in, because Avenal usually has one of the bigger races here on the West Coast. And I know there's some people that were waiting out because Dome Valley has their points championship in 2 weeks. I know there were some other people who had some prior engagements. I don't know if it was people worried about like the typical October weather in Central California, but the weather was perfect this past weekend. I mean, mid 70s, like little to no wind. It was just a very comfortable and like nice weekend, which is not always the case. A lot of times that October race date ends up being pretty cold and windy, but this was definitely not the case. Regardless of some people being missing in action from it, the racing action was still awesome there, and lots of cool storylines to get into. I think we'll start off with kind of what happened in Top Eliminator. So they end up having 8 vehicles qualify for the class, and start out Friday. The first 2 sessions had 7 qualifying. One cool thing that we saw was the Wananabe dragster, Robert driving it. That is, I was just talking to Robert. That dragster was built in 1976. And get this, the only thing that they've done, other than, some keeping up with motor and transit stuff blowing up, the only thing they've done to update that vehicle is somewhere in the mid 90s, they back halved it. And they ran Top Eliminator with it this weekend. They added a parachute, okay, because that's what's required for the class. They were a little off the pace. They've been like a high 320 with it. It's just a little small, injected small block, but it was super cool to see. I mean, I don't know, guys. Do you know of any other single vehicle in the sport that has been racing for that long?
Now, what year did you say?
76 was what I was told.
There are a handful in this area that have been around since the very late 70s, early 80s that still race regularly. There's not many. The Harneys with the hay shaker, that car has been around since the late 70s, early 80s, under various names. As well as there's a green Jeep currently called Dudley Do Right, used to be called Special K, that runs out of Franklin County as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah. So, but not too many, right? Like,
No,
it's a decreasing number.
They are slowly working their way out of the system.
Yeah.
Some of them for good reasons. Some of them because they're getting really scary.
I would say that this is probably one of those vehicles that is on the scarier side. It is definitely a product of its time. It was a 1970s fuel car, and probably cage and steering and everything could be updated a little bit, but it's something that has been passed down. I think it's now on its 3rd generation of driver from the Wananabe crew. It just works though. And it's been a cool thing. I mean, they typically run Pro 1 with it, but they hopped up into Top Eliminator, so it was cool to see. They had like almost the entire clan out there. We got a great group photo with, 20 or 30 of the family members there. So they had a great time.
That's an old school clutch car running 2000s,
old
isn't it?
School clutch car. Yeah, absolutely. And it's pretty awesome to see it dump it. And the way the chassis is, his knee is like fully out of the frame rails to when he dumps it. So probably not the safest on that aspect, but one of my favorite cars out there. So it was super cool to see Robert in the driver's seat there. We saw the Halls back out from New Mexico. They made the the spring nationals out there. They actually went number 1 and 2 off the trailer. Vicky Hall in the Farmer's Twisted Daughter running a stellar 295.9 first pass off the trailer. Damon going a little bit slower with a 299.8. But I mean, come on. Off the trailer, like those are some pretty good times, right? And then another one, and this is going to be a continuing storyline we'll talk about through the qualifying. Eric Hickey brought out their excessive force altered, brand new 377 cubic inch blown small block they built from the ground up. And they've been, famous for running those Chevy small blocks. They brought out the altered, hoping to run, some maybe 320s and stuff. They weren't really looking to do, set the world on fire, but they wanted to run in top eliminator because their goal is to have 2 eliminator cars in their camp. First pass, the trans brake linkage was messed up in it, and he brought it up on the trans brake and it didn't hold, and he rolled right through the lights. So he kind of got like screwed up by that. Terrible pass with that. But they got the linkage fixed for Q2, and they went out there and ran a 297.5, which is the quickest that altered has ever been by a fair margin. I want to say their best was like a 310 something.
I mean, they just popped it out, ran 297.5.
Just popped it out 297.5. So the first real pass, right?
Wow.
So hey, like they got that thing dialed, and not the only small block entry, because Vicky's is a small block entry there, run 295.9. So anybody that will tell you that small blocks cannot get the job done in top eliminator, they're fooling you. You can, you absolutely can get it done.
It's really impressive to see Vicky and Damon go, one and off the trailer like that. It's tuning 2 cars is not an easy chore.
I can definitely list several small blocks that have proved that wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and these are conventional head small blocks too. These are not,
that's excluding Farwick.
Okay. So some cool things with that. Now, unfortunate thing that did happen to Eric. So he got a little squirrely in the shutdown. Didn't, tip the car over or anything, but something happened as the car was settling down and it shut off. He said he was actually running Vicky on that pass. She went down and ran like a 286. And he thought, oh man, the way she's walking away from me, that it didn't run a good number. He ends up getting told by the safety guys, hey, how's it feel like to go 297? He's like, what? But, as much as he was stoked about that, car shut off and couldn't figure out what was going on with it. It turned over, but it wouldn't fire. And Eric and his dad, Glenn, spent the remainder of both sessions, all of Saturday, trying to diagnose some sort of electrical ignition gremlin in the altered. They went and replaced the box twice, coil, tested the battery. They did find, they run a distributor on it that's got a direct drive to the crank. They found that there's a little reducer spacer that slid forward on the snout. So they did find that somehow wiggled itself loose, and everybody's like, I've never heard of that happening. But they got that fixed. They tested everything. They were getting power to the distributor, but for whatever reason, it was not sending a signal back to the box and firing the engine. They spent all Saturday trying to figure that out. And in the meantime, we saw Guillermo Martin del Campo in his pro-charged Ford truck jump into the class. I believe he ran the Quick 8 trucks on Friday. I wasn't there for coverage, so this is all just what I was told. He never made a full pass with it, but he went through, and Saturday he managed a best of a 393 with a 9, and that was on a half track pass. So they're getting somewhere with that truck, but it still is a little ways, and we're still missing the bedsides, Gmo. We're still missing them. We want them back. The people want the bedsides. So we went through. What's that?
We the people.
We the people. We the people demand the bedsides. So final qualifying order ended up with Vicky Hall still maintaining that 295.9 for the number one spot. Damon bettered his time with a 296.3. Eric held on with a 297.5. Ron Moran went 312 with a 5. He had plenty of other passes where he was going too quick for the class, so he maintained the number 4 spot. Brian Drace in another small block T-Bucket altered managed a 331.8 for the number 5 spot. Robert Wanabe ended up in number 6 with a 337.1. Gmo ended up 7th with a 393.9. And then the bottom number on the qualifying list was Craig Brewster with a 294.8. Every single pass, he was too quick for the index. So 294.8 was as close as he got. And
great problem to have.
Good problem, right? You know, that's what we always talk about. You want to tune down to the class rather than trying to tune up to the class. Saturday, we had, or here, actually, let's go back to Friday. So we had a couple of classes for the bracket cars and ATVs. So they ran a 395 index, which we saw Bob Cambridge and his beautiful buggy get first over Scotty Burris, who came all the way down from Oregon to do battle at Avenal. And we'll see Scotty in a couple other finals here. And then they had 2 different gambler classes. So they had an ATV gambler, motorcycle, if you're fancy and you're from the West Coast. And my pops, Randy Mings, got the win over Mike Miller. So pretty stoked to see him. You know, hadn't been there in over a year. And right off the trailer, making first place. So awesome to see.
Way cool.
The Friday Pro Gambler, which I believe was 34, was the final count for that one. Saw Mark Van in his CJ Jeep get the win over Chris Helmuth. And I swear, Chris and Curtis, I always get them mixed up because they're both a C Helmuth. They both have red dragsters and they look very similar. And it's so hard for me to tell who's who, especially because I only see them like twice a year. But Chris was the one that got second this time around. And then they had the Quick 8 full body truck. So this is it's kind of set up like a normal Quick 8 that we would see at a lot of tracks. So it's not a heads up thing. Quickest 8 qualify, and then it's a bracket.
So it's a lot like our Pro Truck Nationals type scenario a little bit.
Very much like the Pro Truck Nationals. The only difference is that they
just take the Quick 8.
They have it against Jeeps. So Jeeps are not allowed to enter the Quick 8 full body truck. They want true trucks. So you've got everything from flatbeds to like Guillermo's truck, which is pretty darn quick with that Pro Charge Ford. Everything in between, but it's full real steel.
You guys are very inviting
trucks
out there. Then you're.
I know. Well, you know, they got some people out here that they like their trucks and they don't want Jeeps to ruin the party. So,
oh my god,
hey, you know what? They got with the Avenal crew and they've had this class for a few years now, and you know, it seems to always put on a good show Friday night though.
It sounds like a great class. Don't get me wrong.
It's fun. It's fun. And in there, first place goes to David Rittenauer, taking the driving duty away from his son, because son has a Jeep now, right? So a little bit of drama going on there. But David Rittenauer taking the win over Chris Pintor in that Quick 8 full body truck class. Saturday, we rolled into the sportsman classes. So they have 3 sportsman classes, which is unique. Most of the other West Coast tracks only have 2 sportsman car classes. And Sport 1. So that's the quickest index there. We saw Ryan Hill, who was another Oregonian that made the long drive down. He took the win over Rory Montgomery. Sport 2, Christy Amos, who I believe she was actually in that Quick 8 full body truck class as well. So she's got a pretty cool flatbed pickup that's been pretty quick with there. Took the win over Eric Young. Eric in a Polaris Pro R. And then Sport 3, the People's Class, this is where we see all the big farm trucks and like super slow, side-by-sides, golf carts, stock, like Volkswagen buggies and everything. We saw Ryan May in the Dodge Power Wagon taking the win over Joseph Mendez in his Volkswagen buggy.
A classic from that area. That thing's been racing for a long time, too.
Long time. And probably another one of those vehicles that hasn't changed much over the years. But I love that truck. It's a great one. The Sportsman motorcycles. So Motorcycle Sport 1. So they only have 2 motorcycle sport classes. No third one there. David Markle took the win in Motorcycle Sport 1 over yours truly. And then I went and flipped the tables in Motorcycle Sport 2 on the 250R and took the win over Eric Young. That was Eric on his, is that a Raptor or is it a YZF? It's a 4-stroke single cylinder bike. I'm drawing a blank on it. So, well, Eric, I'm sorry, but it was a 4-stroke.
Let him know.
Then we had a Saturday Pro Gambler on the books, and Kenny Hayes got the win over Zach Phillips there. That was Kenny's drag Jeep, which if you guys have not seen, Kenny's stuff, beautiful. We used to joke about Aaron Bailey needing a Mother's Polish sponsorship for the way he shines up his top limit drags from when he was playing in the sand. I think that Kenny needs something like that because, every time that he brought the Jeep out, it looked immaculate.
What happened to that car? Aaron Bailey's.
The motor is in a top dragster that they are running. And the chassis... Renting? What?
What'd you say?
The motor from his top limiter dragster is in a top dragster on asphalt now. And then I think the chassis... Is that the chassis that he sold to Powell? And no, I think that's a different chassis. I don't know what happened to the chassis. Maybe they still have it.
Yeah, let's hope so. Maybe they'll put something back.
I don't know. Aaron and Nikki, let us know if you guys are watching. Comment on this episode and let us know where that chassis is, because it was a cool dragster, right?
Yeah, it was.
And then the surprise thing that they were a little ahead of schedule. Like I said, again, a little light on the car count from what they typically have, and they run a very quick, tight show there. So they added a Saturday motorcycle gambler, and in there we saw Tessa Nunez on her Mocha Mods powered Banshee take the win over Eric Young. So Eric getting 2 second places there on Saturday. Sunday eliminations come around. We're going to jump back into top eliminator. Okay, so like we said, all of Saturday, Eric and Glenn Hickey were chasing those electrical issues. They ended up swapping to a third new box. They went from a 10 amp system to a 7 amp system. And for some reason, the car liked that. And it worked. Totally. So they were able to make first round.
Sometimes it's the simple things.
Right. So I don't know. I'm sure they're going to take it. They are planning on going to Dome Valley in a couple weeks. So they're going to strip that thing down and probably change every bit of wire across the whole car, because you don't want to have an uncertain, electrical issue like that. But they made first round. They actually ran Robert Watanabe for that first round, and clicked it off a little early. Ran like a 303. So they were definitely on a pass. That was probably a 3/4 track pass to run the 303. So might even been on the verge of breaking out there. Vicky went out there in a normal qualifier, laid a number down. Her husband, Damon, ended up getting the round win as well. We go into round 2, the semifinals, down to 4 cars. And Damon and Eric were facing off against each other. And man, that was like some old school, like fuel altered type stuff going on. They both were all over the track. I believe each one of them ran a 3:31, so way off the number. Eric was on the tower side of the racetrack, and he went hard left, pedaled it a bunch, came over to the right side of the racetrack. Damon did the same in the right lane. He actually got so sideways, he ended up crossing the center line, knocked out some cones. So would have been an automatic DQ, but I think Eric got a little bit on the tree on him there with a whole shot win had Damon stayed in his lane. And so just kind of a wild turn of events there.
That'd been a fun pass to watch.
It was a fun pass for sure. And then luckily Damon had a little bit of a luck on his side because he's got a wife that was kicking ass, and she went out and won her pass, so she's making the final. So the Hall Racing team out of New Mexico at least getting one person to the final, and she had Eric. And the troubles and woes for Hickey Racing continued because after that pass, they had no oil pressure when they go and tried to warm it up in the pits. So they didn't really have anything else to change it for. They had, he said he got like 2 or 3 spare oil pumps back at the house, but nothing with them at the track, and didn't really have enough time to chase down anything else. They were like, well, it's either the gauge is reading incorrectly, the gauge is malfunctioning, which could be, continuing on some of their electrical issues, right? Or it could actually be a bad oil pump. And he's like, hey, I really don't want to blow up this brand new motor, especially after it goes 297.5 off the trailer, essentially. So they were like, hey, we're going to bring it up to the line. And if it's got oil pressure, if it's got 20 pounds or more, he said, we'll send it. Got up there, 0 pounds oil pressure. So Vicky Hall went out there. She clicked it off a little early, made a nice showing for the fans. That was actually the last pass of the evening. So congrats to Vicky Hall for taking the top eliminator win. Then we went to our pro cars. Kenny Hayes getting another win there. So he, again, in the drag Jeep, and he got the win over Tom Grote. This was another cool storyline. So Tom Grote, many of you guys probably saw, I think we shared it. This was a while back because the Albany, Oregon track was still in circulation. And obviously we all know now the Albany sand drag track is no more. But Tom, in his old dragster, actually rolled there and has been rebuilding a new car, same engine from his previous dragster, but completely brand new chassis. And they literally just finished it up in time to get out and drive out to the Avenal Sand Drags Fall Frenzy. So he had not made a single pass since wrecking and rolling his previous dragster. Now, I know, you got, like, John, you've had some instances where you've been in some scary situations stuff. How nerve-wracking is it, like, that first pass back in a vehicle, especially a brand new one?
It definitely makes you think twice about hitting the loud pedal. But you sit there and you're like, you got to get it out of your system or you never will. And you just have to take that step. And if you don't, you're just going to sit there and wonder why you never did. So I advise to stomp on that loud pedal again because it was worth it.
Definitely. And it was definitely worth it for him. Definitely the nerves were showing. He didn't make a full pass. He kind of let out a little bit early, but good shakedown pass on the dragster, and continued to went a lot of rounds previously in the weekend and ended up getting second place there to Kenny Hayes, which anybody that's faced Kenny in a final, that's a hard, tough customer to get around. So it was pretty cool to see Tom, brand new dragster, get to that final round and, at least take a second place out of the weekend.
I say you hear Kenny Hayes quite a bit out there, so he must be a pretty tough guy.
He's a tough cookie for sure.
Awesome.
And then another Oregonian, like I said, we were going to talk about him a couple times. Scotty Burris in Pro 2 in his rail got the win over fellow Oregon racer Ryan Hill. So that's the cool thing that I love is that we've always had a good group of Oregon guys that have made the drive down to the Avenal Sand Drags, just depending on how it fits in with the Albany schedule. And now with, no track there in Oregon for the time being, we had a few more of them there, and it was pretty cool to see them go some rounds and really take some wins there.
How long of a
Pro
drive is
3,
that, Caleb? Do you know?
depends where they're from Oregon. I know it was like 1,800 miles, I think, from where I was in SoCal to a little bit north of where the Oregon track was. So probably for most people, it's in 15 to 1,800 mile mark. No, actually, I
Wow.
take that back. It'd be less than that. It'd be less than that because you're talking
700,
at
800
least a
miles?
thousand,
1,000 miles?
probably more than that, 1,000 miles
Yeah.
probably.
That's
Yeah,
still a hell of a
for most of the
drive.
Oregon guys. Yeah, so I mean, big commitment from all the Oregon guys, and definitely appreciate them, making the drive down. So, and they
Very
always have a
cool.
great time though too. Pro 3, we saw David Parker. So this is we actually had a little interview with him during the final. Brand new Jeep for him. Debuted it this weekend. It looks very similar to his old one, which had blue rails, white CJ body on it. But this is a completely brand new build. It's a little bit longer wheelbase. I believe he said it was a 355 cubic inch small block Chevy in it. It's a beautiful looking Jeep. And he was like, hey, we weren't really expecting to go finals with it first time out, but there he was. And he had Mark Van, who won that Friday Gambler. He said he's got to cut a light on Mark, and he did, and took the win for Pro 3. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And we had motorcycle pro classes. So we'll make this easy. I just take all of them.
Nice.
So, first place in Motorcycle Pro 1, rematch of the Sport Class final with David Markle. So this time we swapped. And I know that final, David actually had a spark plug detonate. So he was a little off his dial there. He showed it to me after the pass. I'm like, oh, shoot. Yeah, that plug's roasted. So a little off his dial from there. But it was cool to be in the final again with David. He's always a great competitor. And then Motorcycle Pro 2, it was a rematch of the Sport 2 final and ended up being the same way. So I took the win over Eric Young. The attrition in the numbers that were out there also affected the kids classes, which really bummed me out because Avenal's consistently got like the biggest kids classes on the West Coast. And there just wasn't a lot of them. So I don't know if we've got kids that are aging out and like they're getting more involved with sports, or it's just some of these teams that didn't show up this weekend or other stuff going on. I don't know. There wasn't a ton of them. So definitely hope that we get more of them back out there because, again, Avenal Sand Drag facility is a great place to race, and they give the kids a lot of time to go and actually make passes. They kind of shut the program down on Saturday for a little bit and give the kids like 2 hours just to go and make extra passes, which is super cool and super important for the continuation of the youth programs. They ran 2 different classes. So they had the youth and the juniors. And in the youth, we saw Parker Ross Thornton taking the win over Delilah Tuman. And then in the juniors, Tanner Rex Cornell in the trophy cart. And I think they had like a new engine in that thing because it was, I don't know, it sounded really healthy and it was running good. He took the win over Maddox Marndell Campo. So Guillermo couldn't get it really done in top eliminator, but cool to see, Maddox there from the Marndell Campo camp getting second place in the juniors category. So that was it. That was Avenal Sand Drag's Fall Frenzy. And they'll be back at it next year. They'll have their event in April. And
they only do 2 a year, correct?
They only do 2 a year at that track. So it's always pretty much the third weekend of April and then the third weekend of October. Most of the years, sometimes depending on the dates work out, it can be a little different. But they'll be back at it April 24th through the 26th in 2026.
Nice.
All right. And this wasn't the only event that we had going on this weekend. John, you and Damien, you guys were at a little place called Gravelrama for Last Blast. So
yeah, we did that too.
How did that go?
Take it away, Damien.
Friday night, everything was going well until about 10 o'clock. The dew set in, and Race America being Race America again. If that explains anything there. We got about to the final 5 in the bracket, final 8 in the 4.0 class, and the finals in the 350 and 450 classes, but unable to finish the race on the night.
Which really sucked.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of good racing happening. The 450 class, a lot of people trying to for the bracket class, a lot of people slowing their stuff down, trying to run a 465.
Right.
So going into that, and then Saturday we started off the kids. Did they post the names with that? Because I cannot remember the names of the kids that won.
And so I don't know if that was a good idea or not when they went to the 465 and slower bracket thing, because I did see some cars sitting out on that one.
Oh, definitely. There was a bunch that ended up setting out, unfortunately.
So I think
I could see the.
Just think you can't pick a set of cars and kick them out, you know?
Yeah, I understand the reason why they did it. They're like, hey, we've got these index classes going on Friday, but if you can't fit the index, if you're too slow to get in those, then you can get in the bracket. I understand the concept of that, but you're right, John. Like, there's plenty of people in those faster indexes that would have jumped in to the bracket had it been.
God, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, or at least had one of them. A split fast class, slow class, right?
Sure.
Totally.
Yeah, and they I hate to say it, and I don't like to be critical, but they kind of missed the boat on that one. I did see cars sitting out, so hopefully they'll see this and maybe change it for next year.
Lesson learned.
Right. Now,
I have to ask though. So beyond just maybe that class kind of should have been more of an open thing. What was the temperature on the ground as far as not having hill drags this year?
Disappointment.
That was pretty good. There was only a small group that sat there and really complained about it, and I understand. It's a cool event, but the number of cars versus the value of how much it takes to work, the work it takes to switch it over. What I think helped them is for me is like certain guys want to drag race for 2 days. They can't hit uphill drag, so they'll say, "Well, I'm not going to travel down there to race one day." So there's a little bit of that. So I thought that helped them out a little bit for the flat drags. They probably did better on the flat drags on Friday than they would have did on an uphill. That's my guess. I don't know.
That's left to be seen, obviously.
Sure.
Known because we didn't do it.
Right.
True. Anyways, you got those.
I've seen those hill drags years where we've had more competitors for that than the flats. I've seen years where it's been 20 cars. So it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
Mother Nature wasn't exactly our friend on Friday night either. It was down in the high 30s by the time race was done with.
Oof. Getting a little chilly.
Just a little bit.
So heading into Saturday, you guys ran a Pee-wees and a juniors class, right, Damien?
Unfortunately, I do not have the names of the kids. I know one of the Monigs ended up winning the Pee-wees, and Austin Bullock's boy ended up getting second. And on the juniors, I'll be honest, I do not know the names of either one off the top of my head. And they did not post any names with it. They did post pictures on the Gravel Rama Facebook page, but that was all they put with it.
Gotcha. Were they of the winners or?
Yes, first and second in both classes.
Okay.
We'll make sure we
can put them in. We'll put them up on the screen here. We'll put them in the podcast here.
Right.
So
people will fill us in so we can make sure we get the right names with them.
We may not get this in time, but here is your first place winner in the juniors. And then your second place winner in the juniors. And your first place winner in Pee-wees. And now your second place winner in Pee-wees.
I'll just go ahead and send them to you on Facebook so you can dig those out.
Perfect. All right, so continuing on, more racing action on Saturday after the kids' classes.
They had a 295 class, a quick 16, as well as an open bracket. They had there was going to be 17 people trying to make the show. I was trying to make it, but first past the transfer case let go in this thing. So they had 16, and Cody Embry just all weekend changing parts and breaking them every time he'd turn around in that poor little Volkswagen dragster of his. He broke the ring gear, I believe, on Friday, or dog ring. He broke her dog ring on Friday night trying to qualify. And then was
Gotcha.
unable
And
to make
what
the
would
first round.
if everybody made it, what would have been the bump spot for that quick 16?
It would have been
10, I think.
4.0 or 4.10.
Okay.
And the fastest cars were all in the 3.30 bracket.
Nice. So
And there
juice is red.
was 8 total in top eliminator, or was it 4 total at the end of it?
6.
Right. Farwick did make a couple of qualifying passes, but he just went out there to lay down a number, make sure everything was still working correctly, as he ended up going in the 2.7s at Cleves.
What?
Oh, wow.
2.7s at Cleves?
With an Alder.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. Dang. Okay. I mean,
correctly.
Unfortunately,
Damien,
I missed those 2 passes as I was dealing with other things, but
tell people how
awesome
hard it
see.
is to go that quick, especially with a short car at gravel.
Let alone at Cleves.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, that would have been. Do you know if it was a higher, mid, low 70?
I want to say mid.
Okay, so a mid 70 pass there is probably at minimum a mid 60 pass at other tracks for a car like that.
Right.
You know, like maybe low 60, high 50, depending on where you're going.
All depends on how the Cleves track was that night. And
that's true. That's
people
true.
were really liking it this weekend. It was actually very forgiving for a lot of cars.
Well, the air was really good too for the blower cars.
Yeah. Especially Saturday.
The air was phenomenal.
But the top eliminator, that came down to Doug Vinlett and his Alder, Cindy Lou, against Josh Burling in the Molotov cocktail dragster, which for anyone looking, get a hold of Rob Burling on that. The car is actually for sale. So is the motor. 671 blown big block dragster went a 313. So
Nice.
really small blower on that, and they are cranking it. Unfortunately, went to stage and just took off when he hit the throttle. But not the only mishap in the final round. John Sorg took a bit of a tumble there behind Cindy Lou after staging Doug up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that was nothing.
Bit of a tactical roll. Lost
Tactical
his
roll.
I did a tactical roll, came up, I had my guns a-blazing. I was like, yeah.
You're going to have to make sure to put that up. I sent that in the chat so we could have that.
Yeah, you can forget about that.
No,
you can just forget about that. Hey, Damien, go to bed. Aren't you tired?
Do a barrel roll.
Hey, at least when I tried to fall off, it was the bike trying to kick me, not my own legs.
Well, you know,
speaking of, I know we mentioned this earlier in the show. I know we mentioned this earlier in the show. Damien, you said that the Jeep broke, and whose ride did you end up in?
I ended up in Austin Bullock's Turbo LS Dreher Alder. Talk about just cranking the rubber band up and letting it go and just setting your head back in the seat.
Well, and it was comfy enough. I mean, we saw another photo of somebody maybe asleep in the staging lanes.
Not the first time you'll see me asleep in a race car, not the last.
Yeah, but it's just neat how you adapt to other vehicles. Not only racing them, but sleeping in them. I mean, it's all about comfort.
Oh, yeah. If a race car is comfortable, that's one less thing you have to think about when you're driving it. You're not thinking, God damn it, this hurts.
For sure.
But then for the quick 16 class, that came down to Daryl Clem's 6.0 LS powered dragster against now my brain just dropped it. Oh, J-Rod Welke and their LS powered dragster. And Jared Welke getting the win.
Nice.
Tends to be the common denominator anymore is lightweight dragster, decent power motor. It's an easy way to go. Because even in the bracket class,
go out there
are
and prove
fine.
us wrong, Damien? Why don't you go out there and prove us wrong? Quit bitching and start proving us wrong, and then we'll be okay.
Hey, right now it seems to be dragsters are the hot ticket.
You gonna build one?
Probably not.
You
I
should.
enjoy driving. This thing's too much fun to drive to worry about a dragster.
Dragsters are fun too.
Yes, let
That's
go
a
of the
short-
button and just go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, Damien, you could chop that thing in half and then use the leftover material to go and just extend the front. I think you could do it.
Yeah, I'm good with that. If someone offers me to drive one, I would hop in one, but again, not getting rid of the Jeep.
I hear you.
Then for the bracket class, you had Jeff Simpson in the Big One 2.0, that little EcoBoost powered 4-cylinder turbo dragster that last year, the old one, they launched off the hill drags and then cartwheeled later in the year at Brookville. They built a whole new car, 4-link rear suspension, independent front suspension, and have been working towards it, and they've got a consistent 360 car now.
That's quick.
They lost to, was it John Horn you said earlier, John, or Dan? The Raising Cane holder.
The Raising Cane, John Horn, yes.
John Horn in the it's an Ellington chassis. It's called Raising Cane. It used to be called Back in Black when I was a kid. It had a blown small block, but they've got that thing working good. It's a 2-wheel drive altered running 20s with a 331 small block running 380s on the regular.
Nice.
Good running car, good looking car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good looking one.
And they ended up getting the win there, I believe, if I remember correctly. But those were your big winners on the weekend. There was a lot of fast passes. I believe you mentioned something about someone setting a record over the weekend. You got time slips from?
Oh, yeah, that was Randy Gustin.
Oh yeah. New
Ran a
A Sport buggy record.
349.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I know
345.
so he was our previous record holder. I believe he just lowered the ET side, not the mile an hour, John.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
He would have
correctly.
on the mile an hour, but he didn't back it up on the one pass.
Didn't back
But he
it up.
went
Yeah.
a 345 when he went to back up to 349 or whatever, vice versa.
Yeah. So and thankfully with how we do our record system, as long as both of your passes are quicker than the current record, you can use the faster one to back up the slower one. So between
Correct.
the two, the record will be a 349.8. And I'll check the previous record real quick here.
I think it was
So
a
this is our A.
358.
I believe you're correct on that.
Not only did he
58.4.
beat it, he annihilated it.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and that was previously at Silverback. So bringing the record over to Cleves there for the ET, and that's a minimum 40-inch cockpit, max 120-inch wheelbase, and they've got to have at least 2 seats in the buggy, fully independent suspension all the way around, and 4 cylinders only. Boosted, natural aspirated, what do you want to do? He's got a big turbocharged Volkswagen in there, so
Yes.
getting
And
the
it
job
runs
done.
great.
Oh,
It
yeah.
does.
And there was a lot of fast buggies down there. Matt Willis bringing out his new buggy and trying to dip down in the 20s, got into the low 30s before the ring gear decided it wanted to leave the chat.
Yeah, he got in one of those quick change, left the building.
Oh, yeah, that it did. Front end was about 6 inches off the ground to a foot, and it decided it was done with life.
Yeah.
Driveline seemed to be the common carnage this weekend, as, like we said, transfer case breaking in mine. John Trainer in the top eliminator class he let go of the button, and it was on a mission for about 15 feet. Front end was up, it was moving, and it buzzed the limiter pretty hard. And then Caden Kerr and Ryan Kerr's Swamp Donkey breaking the wheelie bar on a pass, launching it, getting the front end way up in the air, up on one tire. So lots of carnage, lots of fun racing, lots of really close racing. John Sword having some issues getting beat by a black dragster all weekend.
Hey, let me ask you a question. How'd you do?
Not worth a damn.
Okay, then you can leave me out of it.
Oh, I'm still gonna make fun of you. You've had those bad weekends too.
I have one bad weekend. Oh my God.
Well, when you're on
man,
top,
we actually screwed up. We weren't supposed to have John on here this weekend, Damien. We're supposed to have Son Yorg on.
Son Yorg.
We got to redo the whole episode.
Too.
Dang, man.
Now, and I hate to be the spoiler on here, but Shelton's is canceled, so now I have to live with the fact that I had a shitty weekend all winter long until we go to Dome.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Hey, trust me, I'm right there with you. At least your race car loaded itself without any broken parts. Mine did load itself, but if it was in low range, the transfer case sounded like a bunch of chiclets.
Well, the good news is you, as John is saying, you got all winter to go and get the stuff fixed. And this, we'll talk more about it. John's getting a little ahead of the program here, but we'll get to some news and stuff on Shelton's and the remainder of the season. That is going to wrap up our recaps of events this past weekend. And we're going to move on to our race previews. And before we get into those previews, we're going to go and talk about our sponsors one more time. Starting out with Racing in the Dirt, racingdirt.com, where you can go and visit them for all your go fast needs in the sand, dirt, or mud drag racing worlds. You guys can check out Silverback Offroad Speedway, located in Mears, Michigan, for their awesome multi-use facility, including some sand drags, hill climbs, short course, mud drags, everything like that. Silverback Offroad Rentals, where you guys can go and rent a premium side-by-side ATV or Jeep to go have a nice family excursion in the Silver Lake Sand Dunes. And 3-1 Go Life, where you can follow Doug Villette and the crew as they go trucking across the states, work on some race cars, hit up some races, and talk about a little bit more sand drags on their podcast, The Dirt. All right. We're getting towards the end of the 2026 season, and we're starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel as far as events that we still have upcoming. But we're going out with a bang here on the West Coast at Dome Valley Raceway, November 7th to the 9th, where they are going to wrap up the Arizona Sand Drag Championship. Point series going on here. I am blanking on this if this is a points and a half race. I know that they are going to be having some tight points battles across the different classes, and they're going to be adding a few extra bonuses to this event. So within the heads up classes, they've got a few classes that are getting an incentive for the cars to go quick during qualifying. So in both Pro Mod, Top Alcohol, and Top Eliminator, there's a bonus $500 check going to the number one qualifier. That they're going to get a nice big custom check and 3 number one qualifier hats, which I think that's pretty cool. It's a full NHRA style deal with
that's
that.
Really cool.
Yeah, and that's
different. Yeah, and that's put up thanks to Fast Track Construction, Mr. Mark Punos. So super cool to see that. They are doing A Fuel as another heads up class, but no bonus to that one. That's been probably the smallest class. I don't know. Between the entries and stuff, probably more of those competitors are going to go into Top Eliminator. We actually just got word today, 20 Top Eliminator cars, more than 20, are already pre-registered for the event, which is pretty crazy. We haven't seen that on the West Coast in quite some time.
That's going to be an amazing field to watch.
Right. That's like Brookville, end of the year stuff. So
right.
Super cool to see that. They've also got the unlimited ATV class. So same deal with that as A Fuel. They're not having a bonus to that. That's going to be your normal 70% payback for the unlimited ATV and 100% payback for A Fuel. The index classes that Dome runs on their Friday night program are getting a little bit of an extra bonus here. So the 395 index cars and 395 index ATVs, I believe those normally pay back $120 to first place. With a plaque, they're going to go and bump those up to $300. Same is going to go for the 450 index car class. So first place gets a $300 purse with a plaque. Second place is just getting a plaque. For those, they are going to have a minimum car count of 6 in order to get those ones. Sports 1 and 2 cars. Same type of deal. This is an interesting thing that Dome does for their sportsman classes. Most of the sportsman classes here on the West Coast, it's been a trophy only class. They've added a little bit of prize money, but a little bit higher entry fee. So the Sport 1 and Sport 2, they are having at a minimum 10 car entry, which they put a little note in here that they have not had less than 10 entries in either of those classes in the past 2 seasons that they've raced at Dome Valley Raceway. So that pretty much means it's going to be guaranteed as long as, you get 10 cars in there, but it's a $500 purse to first place, and second place is going to get $120. So
Great.
Go out there, sportsman light, and win some money. The sportsman ATV classes, so they've got 1 and 2 for that as well. They're looking for a minimum 6 ATV entry, and they are going to give $200 to first place there. So a little bit of cool added money there for some of the sportsman and index classes. The rest of the program going to be their normal Pro 1, 2, and 3 cars, Pro 1 and 2 ATVs. Saturday and Sunday, they are going to run an ATV and a car gambler, and then juniors and peewees categories as well. Those are all going to be the normal payout, normal entry fees for those, but a little bit of extra added money for some of those. And like we said, 20 plus top cylinder cars. So that should be a pretty cool deal. And we'll see how all the points championships there wrap up. But it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting.
Definitely.
And then we have another track here more on the West Coast side that they are having one last event for the season. And that is the new track out in Texas. Did we ever figure out what state it was in?
Texas.
Oh, there it is. Fort Hancock, Texas. So this is Dave Villanueva's brand new track, the Texas Sand Motorplex. So they've been running a few different events there, and they are going to have a test and tune on November 14th, and then racing on November 15th. And they're open to any type of vehicle. $30 per person, Friday through Sunday, for overnight camping. And I don't actually know what classes they're running. Have you guys seen anything on that?
I have not, to be
No,
honest.
I haven't.
I can look here.
I know that they just had one of their racers pass away, and they were going to kind of do like a bit of a little memorial shootout for him. And I'm blanking on the name as well for who that was. It was I know it was one of like the Texas Jeep guys. And of course, not finding who it is. Oh, well. Anyway, this is going to be for a lot of the kind of the more El Paso area, like racers and stuff. So they are, again, going to do a shootout there. Don't know what the other classes are, but you guys can hit up Texas Sand Motorplex on Facebook or message Dave Villanueva, and I'm sure you guys can get all the info there for what's going on there in Fort Hancock, Texas, November 14th and 15th. And that's all we got. That's where, like we said, this is the end of the season. There maybe is going to be something sprinkled in there. If we know, anything kind of pops up, there might be some surprise thing, that we see in the middle of December or something like that. But this is really the end times for 2025 season.
Oh, totally. We're sneaking up on the very last events all across the country.
Yeah. All right. So before we go into our news segment, we're going to do some more housekeeping. Talking about our sponsors again, Racing in the Dirt. You guys can check them out at racinginthedirt.com, where you're going to find over 40 years of motorsports competition experience with Scott and Shane and the crew. Everything from rear wheels and tires that Racing in the Dirt cuts right there, hub kits, brake components, driveline things. They've got some really killer chain drives for this four-wheel drive systems, side-by-side parts. They got new stuff for parachutes, limiter straps, all sorts of different things, all the way up to complete chassis builds we see in the sand, mud, and dirt. Killer pieces. Hit them up today so that you guys can get everything set up for the 2026 season. That's going to be fast approaching here. Hit them up at racinginthedirt.com. Visit them on Facebook or give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's 920-693-2000. John, go ahead and give us another sponsor.
Silverback Offroad Speedway, Mears, Michigan. Like we talked about earlier, they have events from mud drags to sand drags and short course events with side-by-sides all at one venue. Silverback Offroad Speedway. Visit them on Facebook and silverbackoffspeedway.com.
And like we were saying, we should definitely get a new class put there with a little sponsorship and partnership with Silverback Offroad Rentals. Located just outside the Silver Lake Sand Dunes, you can go and rent a premium ATV, UTV, or Jeep to go and hit up the sand dunes out there just outside the entrance. So it makes it super easy and convenient to drive straight in, drop your street car off, pick up your rental, drive straight into the sand dunes. Hit them up at silverbackoffroad.com to check out all their offerings there. And we've got literally 3 days left in the 2025 dune season there at the Silver Lake Sand Dunes. So, and it'll be less than that. So by the time this episode comes out, so go and hit them up and enjoy the Silver Lake Sand Dunes while you still can. Last but not least, we want to thank 31 Go Life on YouTube. You can hit them up and visit them on YouTube, where you're going to see Doug Vinlett and the crew traveling across the states, truck driving, working on the race cars, doing some shop tours, and talking a little shop and, the dirt behind sand drags on their podcast, The Dirt. All of that on 31 Go Life on YouTube. That's the number 3 ONE Life Go on YouTube. 31 Go Life. All right. Going into the news. Who wants to break the full bad news? We touched on it a little bit earlier. Who wants to really hammer it in?
Mother Nature wins again.
Damien was sleeping over there until all of a sudden he just popped out of the blue.
As I said,
there.
Mother Nature wins again.
Shelton's guys is canceled, unfortunately, and that's just sucks, and it's the nature of the beast. And unfortunately, we're out of time at the end of the year, and there won't be a reschedule at this point until next year. Yeah. So, with that being said, we're done for 2025 on the East Coast.
Yeah, man, that sucks. I know there's a lot of people really looking forward to it. And before people go and start shooting the messengers and not understanding, look, James Shelton, he wants to make this happen. Okay. Dave Applegate wanted to be on here. He wants to make this happen. We at World Sand Drag News want to make this happen. For those of you that have not been to Shelton's Dirt Drags, when they start getting rain, let me tell you, that Stanford, Kentucky area turns to soup. We're talking to K-Dub. He said it is the only track that he's had to be pulled out of the pits, not once, not twice, but at least 3 times. So this
Wow.
is one of those areas where just the soil there, the way that the ground holds that moisture,
Well,
it just sucks everything in.
it doesn't help also. It's in basically a creek bottom.
Yep.
The creek runs adjacent to the track about 2 foot below the surface of the track. So yeah, it's great when it's dry out. That moisture is going to keep trying to work its way up. But when it rains, it's the groundwater is already so high that there's nothing you can really do to fight it.
Now, a
Yeah.
couple years ago, James was talking at one point about moving the track up. I wonder if that's still in the thought process for him or not. I don't know if you guys have heard anything or not.
You know,
I have
I have
not.
heard that. I know he's had a lot of bad luck with Mother Nature here, and I know he's talked about potentially like maybe throwing the towel with this, but we want to tell you, James, we love you, and we appreciate all the hard work that you put into the track. Obviously us, trying to promote and put on the race. All the spectators that show up, all the racers that support it. You know, we want to see it keep going. If that means moving the track, if that means, doing anything we can to help with keeping the entrance to the track and the pits and stuff a little bit drier, we want to make it happen, because I know that that's one of the major concerns. Is it's not just, we do have rain continuing on the forecast. From what we're seeing, we're filming on Tuesday. There's still rain coming, but
On Wednesday and Thursday, yeah.
even if it was going to be bone dry, though, the problem is that maybe
Pits
you
won't
could
dry
get the
out.
track worked in, but like the return road, the pits, like the entrance to the facilities, everything, it's just, you're not going to be able to get in there, and you can't tow everybody.
No, and I've never been there yet, personally, but I've, with working with Dave and then Dave working with James and everything. I mean, everything I hear about James is he works hard, he does everything he can. Problem being weather, and James, I hope you do figure out a way to get us in there. That's for damn sure, because I can't wait to go there and test it out. So, in other news, we'll just move on since we got that out of the way. The next up for many of us will be the March 12th through 15th, right,
15.
Caleb? Okay,
Yes.
12th through the 15th, Dome Valley race. So I'm really looking forward to that. You guys can reach out to Doug Vinlett if you're looking to have your stuff hauled out there. Reach out to myself or Esteban Juarez if you want any more information on the event. So, and then I'll pass it on to Sleepyhead.
Which do you want me to go with? The Franklin County points here?
Sure.
Oh yeah, let's talk a little bit of points recap. We obviously had last episode we talked about the final race there, and now we got points tallies for everything.
Alrighty, so we'll start with the Pee-wees, and I'll just do with the top 5 here. In 5th, Hasten Rive Summer. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Braxton Braxton Calhay, Lane Cyber, Jacob Stevens, and number 1, Braxton Sackstetter. He is the son of our mini buggy mile per hour record car owner holder's car. Aaron Sackstetter, his uncle Alex Kersey was the driver for that. In the juniors, starting with 5th, you have Jacob Holfire. Again, some of these are smaller, so I may not be reading them fully correctly. Riker Lackey and Luke Rock. Damn it. Phone is not cooperating here.
I can help you out there too, Damien. I got it up.
Luke Ross and Riker Lackey tied for 4th, it appears. That's the way it's showing here, even though it shows they've got 2 different points totals. So that might not be right. Matthew Krager in 3rd. He's going to be moving up to adults this coming year. Lily Johnson in 2nd, and Aiden Boyce taking the points title in the juniors. And that's the son of Rebecca Boyce, so one of the tougher runners down in this area. for the adults class, the points. Fifth place was a tie between Timmy Estridge in that orange big block truck, runs 4.0s, 3.9s, and Blake Hensley in his more of a street truck, but don't sleep on them street trucks around here. You'll end up beat. Fourth place was Dave Kreger. Third, Lincoln Litzinger, who had led up until the last race. Unfortunately, a friend of his had a wedding somewhere over in Europe, so he had to miss last weekend. Ended up falling down to third behind Ted Hensley, father of Blake Hensley, and number one of our regular top contenders in any bracket race down here, Dave Mergenthal, in that 3/4 ton, full length Chevy pickup of his that runs 5.1s, 5.0s, like clockwork, week in and week out.
Nice.
Yeah, congrats on man. It sucks though for Lincoln. See, don't have friends that go and make wedding dates on race days. Like, you're gonna lose your points.
Especially out of
championship.
country.
Yeah, X those
Yeah,
friends
come
out.
on,
Remember that
Europe?
in the future, folks. Don't have friends with weddings in Europe.
Hey, I'm one to talk. I got married on a race weekend, so
That was, what were you thinking?
I don't know. I think when we set the wedding dates, they didn't have schedules out yet. I think that's what happened with it. Because I would not have done that on purpose. But
Damon,
what
you
can
do
you-
magic tricks over there?
Trying to catch a stink bug. I'm tired of these bastards.
Okay, well, that's new on the pod.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
When they buzz you out of the blue right in front of your face.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Well, I don't think I have any news this weekend. Other than keep
What do you mean
an
you don't
eye
have no
out on.
news? You and your dad kicked some ass this weekend.
Well,
you have
yeah,
no news?
obviously, but we went and covered that already. It was a great weekend for Ming's Racing.
Get
Yeah, it
kicked out of
was.
one California track, go to the other one, and just take all the money.
Yeah,
You
no
know.
wonder you got kicked out of one. They just say the next to take their money.
Well, anyways, what I was gonna say is to keep an eye out on our Facebook page, Instagram. We're still going through trying to catch up on photos from this season. We're slowly getting caught up on that. Currently working through Gravelrama 54 right now, and we've got a few more events to add in there. So if you guys are looking for photos, make sure you visit us. You can find all the photo galleries on worldcentricnews.com. Click up on the photo tab, and you can sort through by the events, the series. Remember that all of the kids' galleries now and going forward are completely free for the high-res digital downloads. So if you are looking for photos of your youngins out there racing, all those are for free. You can still purchase prints, and of course, if you want, we got Venmo and PayPal and stuff on there. You want to give us a little donation for it, we'll still take that. But the adult photo galleries are up there as well for your convenience. So make sure you guys are checking that out. And if you're waiting for a photo that one of us got out there throughout the season for one of those remaining races, know that we're trying to get to it as quick as we can. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything they want to wrap up with?
Same good. I seen Damien disappear in his boxers, so I'm not sure what he's got going on over there.
He's got a whole horde of stink bugs that he's got to go fight. So
yes,
we're gonna let Damien go and save the world from stink bugs. For myself and John, this has been episode 96 of Paddle Talk, and we will see you guys on the next one.